The streetlight flickered like it was struggling to stay awake, and for a moment it felt as if the whole night was holding its breath. Rain had just stopped, leaving the road slick and shining, reflecting broken pieces of orange light across the empty street. That was when Nia Carter heard the sound. Not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet, aching cry that didn't belong to the dark silence of a forgotten bus stop. The kind of crying that carried shame, fear, and exhaustion all at once. The kind people often pretended not to hear. Before we go any further, take a moment to hit the subscribe button. Your support truly means everything, and it allows us to keep sharing stories that touch the heart and remind us of our shared humanity. Now let's begin. Nia was walking home from the grocery store, her baby strapped tightly against her chest, one arm protecting him, the other holding a bag that felt too light to justify the long walk. She had learned not to slow down at night. Pausing invited trouble. The world wasn't gentle to women who lingered, but something in that quiet sob made her steps falter. She told herself to keep moving. She had nothing to spare. No money, no energy, no safety net. Yet her feet betrayed her and slowed anyway. Under the flickering streetlight sat an elderly white couple, folded into themselves on a metal bench, as if the night had simply dropped them there and moved on. The man clutched a cracked phone with shaking hands, staring at it as if willing it to ring. The woman rubbed her wrists over and over, her movements frantic, her eyes unfocused. They had no bags, no coats, nothing that suggested a destination or a plan. Just thin sweaters, soaked from rain, and hair plastered to their foreheads. Nia stood close enough now to feel the cold coming off them. Their faces lifted slowly, cautious, almost fearful, as if kindness itself was something they no longer trusted. She learned quickly that they had been abandoned. Their daughter had convinced them to sell their house, promising safety and care, promising an apartment and a fresh start. Once the money changed hands, the promises disappeared. Calls went unanswered. Messages were blocked. And now they were here, elderly, frightened, and invisible. Cars passed without stopping. A bus roared by, its doors firmly shut. A couple walking past slowed just long enough to judge and dismiss them as trouble. Nia felt something tighten inside her chest. She knew that look. She had lived on the receiving end of it for years. She didn't calculate. She didn't weigh consequences. She just acted. She helped them stand, gave them the little grocery bag she carried, and turned back toward her apartment. She didn't announce heroism. She simply opened her door. Her apartment was small, worn, and honest. Peeling paint, one mattress, thin walls. She gave the bed to the couple without hesitation. That night, she slept on the floor with her baby, pressed against her side, her hip aching, her mind racing. She listened to their breathing, slow, as sleep finally claimed them, and she wondered if she had just made her life harder or more meaningful. Morning didn't bring regret. It brought quiet gratitude, expressed through small acts. The man washed dishes carefully, as if afraid to break something. The woman folded laundry with meticulous precision. They moved like guests who feared overstaying their welcome, but Nia could see the relief settling into their shoulders. Life adjusted itself around them. Nia worked long hours, cleaning offices and stocking shelves. Exhaustion etched into her bones. When she came home, her baby was fed, the floor swept, the space warmer somehow. The couple never asked for anything. They simply filled the gaps where they could. Over time, fragments of their past surfaced. They spoke of their daughter without bitterness, only sadness. Of a life once stable, now gone. Nia didn't ask questions. She understood loss, without explanations. Weeks turned into months. Trust grew quietly, without announcements. They helped Nia with job applications, sharpening her words, preparing her confidence. They showed her how to pause before answering questions, how silence could command respect. Slowly, doors opened. Nia found a steady job, then a better one. She moved them into a slightly bigger apartment where heat worked and windows didn't rattle. They became a family without ever naming it. Years passed in this shared rhythm. The baby grew into a child who laughed freely, who curled into the woman's lap at night to hear stories of oceans and distant cities. The man fixed broken things around the house with steady hands and fading strength. Nia never asked who they had been before. It didn't matter. What mattered was who they were now. Decline came gently, almost politely. The man forgot small things at first. Keys, names. Then mornings grew harder. Doctor visits replaced casual afternoons. Nia adjusted again, balancing work, caregiving, and motherhood. She learned medications and patience. The man passed quietly one early morning, sitting by the window as if watching the world wake up. Nia stood frozen longer than she should have before accepting it. The woman followed months later, shrinking inward, her purpose already fulfilled. Nia buried them with dignity. Neighbors whispered. Coworkers attended. Life pressed forward, as it always did. Then the phone rang. A lawyer's calm voice explained that the elderly couple had left an estate. Nia nearly laughed at the idea. She almost said there had been a mistake. Instead, she went to the meeting. The truth rewrote everything she thought she knew. The couple had been quietly wealthy, owners of a large company, observers of human nature. They had lost their daughter not to death, but to greed. When they were abandoned, they watched the world turn away, except for one exhausted single mother who stopped when it cost her something. They left everything to Nia. The daughter fought it viciously, accusing, threatening, unraveling under scrutiny. The law was merciless where character had once failed. Nia didn't celebrate. She stabilized the company, protected workers, paid fairly. She led with empathy shaped by cold floors and long nights. At home, she kept things simple. Photos on the wall, shared meals, stories remembered. When her child asked why they had given her everything, Nia answered with quiet certainty, because they were watching when it mattered. She never forgot sleeping on the floor. She never forgot the bus stop or the flickering light. And she never forgot that the smallest acts of kindness often echo the loudest across time. If this story moved you, let it remind you of something simple but powerful. Character shows up in moments no one applauds. Kindness multiplies quietly. And the good you give when you have little can shape a future you never imagined. If you believe stories like this matter, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because when we share stories that remind us who we are, we light the way for others walking in the dark.